this is a phenomenal woman right here. Not only did she start the Push Girls and get that launched out there in the world, but she is an ambassador for the Christopher and Dana Reeve Foundation. She recently was discovered by the president of the World Poker Organization, and she now is a TV host because of her social media. So she has a lot to share with you. She's been an actress, a model. She's been on a ton of TV shows, including Inside Edition, Access Hollywood, Ellen, The Jeff Probst Show, Marie Osmond, Good Morning America, on and on and on. She even had an appearance at the White House. But I'm gonna let you hear more about her from her. But she has a lot to share with us for social media, which is another thing that's really critical for all of us now. So pay attention.
So we're going to grab this. Oh, sorry. Where would you facing you? Yep. Thank you. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I would say good morning because I just woke up. Like, I think I went to bed at 5:30, so this is my morning. But wow, this is awesome. Stephanie, thank you so much for making this happen, for allowing me to be here, moderating. And thank you to SAG-AFTRA, to everyone. And thank you, everyone, for being here. Yes, social media, let me tell you, it is extremely important. This is my opinion, and I have serious experience with this because, like Eileen had stated, I've been in the business for about 26 years. So I'm gonna basically give my age. I got into the industry when I was 17, so I'm 43. And, you know, media, that's where it's at. And with social media, it's basically like free advertisement. Like, we're actually, back in the day, we'd have to find a manager, agent. Not saying that our agents and our managers can't do everything, but now we have the opportunity to go forward and to actually showcase ourselves and to put ourselves out there and help our agents and our managers make our branding on point. And like Eileen said, 5 years ago, I created and I had produced the reality show Push Girls, which was on the Sundance Channel. Now, let me just rewind a little bit. I wasn't born with this disability. I was injured in a car accident 17 years ago that placed me in the wheelchair. And I didn't know that people in wheelchairs could act or model. And luckily, a good friend of mine, Toby Forrest, had introduced me to this world. And then I realized, wow, there's so much power that we can showcase by putting ourselves out there. And how do we do it? Is through media. And so that's how I got into the acting again. That's how I got into modeling, but I was not on social media. Now, I was sitting there for the 6 years after I was paralyzed, just sitting, waiting for wheelchair roles to roll in. And then I said, what avenue can I go down? And that's when I realized to create and produce my own reality show. Now, when I was on Sundance, when I was on Push Girls, Sundance Channel was telling me, Angela, you need to do your social media. I was not on social media during Push Girls. I had a flip phone, if you watch the show, and I would text with my tongue with that flip phone, and I would tell the girls, I'm not doing social media. I don't want electromagnetic frequencies near my hoo-ha or anything like that. So I'm not getting an Android, I'm not getting an iPhone, and I'm not doing social media. Sundance actually sent me an iPhone. It's still sitting in my office in my second drawer of my desk. I never used it. So after the show, I graduated into the Android world, and I got my first Google, and I went on Instagram, and I became addicted. I think I'm on Instagram maybe 22 hours of the day, and the other 2 hours I'm sleeping. So yeah, if you go on my Instagram, you probably will see me posting at 4 or 5 in the morning, and I'll be going to sleep. But anyways, the point is this. The last 8 months, I've been studying social media like crazy. When I jump in, I do something. I really jump in. And I've been studying from every influencer to different types of programs, to online courses, to from the themes, to the colors, to everything, to the algorithms, been studying everything about it. And I realized the top 2 social media, I guess I would say Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram are at the top. And Instagram is like at the very top. And so I'm crazy like that. I decided to create 7 Instagram accounts. I don't have anything to do with my life, but no, I do have a lot to do with my life. But so so I have the real Angela Rockwood. I have the Beauty Blazer. I have now the Rolling Goddess, and then Shirley's Angels, and then Push Girls Motivation. I even have one for my dog. But the point is, when I was studying the social media and taking these programs, I was looking at the colors, the themes, and all that stuff. And you guys can talk, we talk about that all day long about that. I'm not gonna go into that right now. But so basically, as Eileen was saying, because I decided to take a dare on, my friend Jeff Rigler had dared me. And if you dare me something, I'm gonna do it because I'm gonna prove you wrong. He's like, I dare you to do a YouTube channel. And I was like, what? YouTube? I'm doing Instagram and Facebook. I have no time to do YouTube. He's like, yeah, just try to do it for a year, but you can't even do it for a year. I said, whatever. So I ended up doing a YouTube channel, and I was nuts because I had a theme every single day. Monday, motivation. Tuesday, Tidbit Tuesday. Wednesday, Warrior Wednesday. Thursday was like, I don't know, something about food or something. I don't know. That lasted maybe 6 months because my iMovie crashed. So I wasn't able to edit anything anymore. Thank God. It gave me a life again. But the point is, because of my YouTube, there was a gentleman named Adam Pleska. And if you look him up, he's an extraordinary man, very intelligent. He is the CEO, the president of the World Poker Tour. Now, he saw one of my YouTube videos, and he had somehow was trying to get through my agent or someone. He couldn't figure it out. So what he did was he just Googled me, and there he found me on my social media. He reached out, and the funny thing is, on my Facebook, when I started Push Girls, I had like thousands of followers or individuals that were wanting to request to be friends. But on my actual Facebook account, the people that you see there are my real friends in real life. So I only had maybe 1,200. And whenever I would go out and meet someone beautiful like Tatiana, I'd be like, hey girl, let's be friends. Come, find me on Facebook. She would try to request me, but Facebook would be blocking it because I had all these other people waiting to be friends with me. So one morning I woke up and I thought to myself, okay, I'm gonna have to accept all these people in order for me to allow new friends to be my friends. So when I accepted 1,000 people that one day, Adam Pleska happened to be in there. And so, this is just reminding me another thing that's crazy. But anyway, so that's how he found me. I found his Facebook message, and I was like, okay, who is this guy? Why is he writing me? So I reached back to him, and to make that long story short, that's how I have the job now. I'm part of the Royal Flush crew. I'm a spokesperson, a TV host for World Poker Tour. They're on Fox Sports. They've been on for 17 years. And while I was just telling that story, I just realized that's how I actually manifested the Push Girls reality show too, was because the executive producer from Fear Factor, American Gladiator, he found me on Facebook as well. He reached out to me, and that's how I was able to speak to him. Yeah. So anyways, so I am going to now introduce 2 phenomenal individuals. One of them is my agent, and probably one of your guys' agent, Gail Williamson from KMR, who's just, if I could clone her, I'd be the richest woman on earth. So, Gail, we're gonna steal some of her knowledge, squeeze some of her knowledge out of her brain.
There's no knowledge in my brain.
Yes, there is, babe. There's a lot of knowledge. Oh my gosh, you've been in this business for so long and in the forefront and all that good stuff. And the other gentleman who I've just been able to meet today, who's wonderful energy and everything, I'm very excited to get to know, is Jason Ratch, who's a part of KMR, and he's in charge of the social media.
Hello.
Hello. So we're going to open this up, and we're going to talk about social media and how important it is. And I know that Jason has a lot of knowledge for us. Yes. Because he's been doing this since 2004 during MySpace.
I think we all have a lot of knowledge.
Well, I'll go ahead and say I'm surprised I'm on this panel. I don't know how much I have to tell you on social media. I'm a baby at it myself in many ways, but I know from my clients and from their experiences how important good pictures are. To know your audience as to who you're speaking to. People will contact me and say, please post on your Facebook page for me, because I get a lot of responses. I get a lot of responses to particular things because I know who my audience is. So sometimes I turn people down and they're not very happy with me, or I'll put it up for a day and then I'll take it back down if it's not getting good responses, because that's what I want to happen on that page. But good pictures, you know, and also with talking about branding and what to wear, good headshots. I said this at the last time I was on a panel, if your agent tells you need a new headshot, don't say, oh, I look just like that still. That's not what it's about. It's not about what you look like. It's about giving casting directors something new to look at about you. We have been doing that in our department. Many of you, if you aren't represented by me, you may know about us, but at Kazarian Measures Ruskin, we have a department specifically for people with disabilities, our diversity department. And we recently just got on a bunch of people that we felt really needed to give us new headshots. And last month, we had our highest number of bookings. We had 58 bookings in a month in our department, which is phenomenal. So get good pictures. Make sure things are quality. If you follow me, you'll notice that pretty much usually there's always somebody cute and younger in a picture with me. You're probably very rarely going to see a picture of me alone. I'm going to get somebody of interest that I think people are going to want to look at. I think that's the over 65 rule. You have to pull somebody in to be in the picture with you. But Jason has worked with some of our clients. He's scouring and finding opportunities for them, and I'm anxious for him to tell you about what KMR does with social media and what kind of clients they look for and all of that stuff.
Hello, everybody. I'm Jason. So if we could just start with the little exercise. On the count of 3, if everybody could shout your first name out and shout whatever name you want people to call you. Ready? 1, 2, 3. So you're a brand. You just told everybody your brand name. So I want people to start thinking about when they're looking at social media that they are a brand, and they have to start thinking along those lines, much as a brand does. A brand has a voice, a brand has colors that they like, a brand has a look, they have a feel. That's what we all are. When we try and market ourselves online, we just have to kind of take a step back and remember we're marketers. And we look different, we act different, we dress different, and that's what makes our brand who we are. So, any questions on that? Okay. So to introduce myself, my name is Jason. I've been doing social media for a long, long time now, and I'm no different than anybody in this room. I personally am antisocial. I don't post anything, but what gets me excited is marketing brands. That's where the fun comes to. That's the fun that I get out of it. So at KMR, it's a great opportunity because we work with a ton of brands using the brand's fans. They're creating the content, engaging with our customers, or I should say the brand's customers. That's fun. Now with the kind of introduction of these influencers, it takes it to a whole different level. And that's where I've been getting really, really excited, because ultimately, when you think of a brand, you have to think about what brands do you want to be associated with? Who are the people in your space that you want to be doing deals with or speaking to, or kind of just getting on their radar? So that's kind of how you start looking at things, is I'm a brand, what brand do I want to be associated with? It also becomes tricky, and Gail might be able to chime in here, when you start taking on roles. we had we have a client that we work with on the influencer side and on the commercial side. And they were in a very risky role. And when we start working with brands, the brands start looking at the reels and going, oh, we have to kind of be careful of this. So as the digital space increases, just be mindful of how your brand is being represented. Because ultimately it could become an issue down the line. And remember, everything that you create content-wise or people take is gonna end up on the web. So be very mindful of that.
Oh, yes, please. Because there's some YouTube videos out there that are so old. And just like Gail was saying about headshots, you might think you still look the same, but you guys have to understand too about energy, like whatever's going on in your life, because your eyes show everything. You can have a photo, and even though you don't have wrinkles 5 years later, in your eyes, you might have a little bit more life than you did 5 years prior when you were probably going through some bad stuff. And so it's always good to update your photos. And just like what Jason was saying about the branding, it's very important to sit there, just like when you guys shouted out your name. You are a brand. So you're this brand. You got to go in within yourself, know who you are, what you're representing, what you want to sell, because you are selling yourself in a sense. You're putting, in essence, a part of you out there in the world. So when you tell someone to go to your username, Tatiana Lee, I'm gonna go there, she's this fashionista, all positive, everything. When people go to your site, the first 2 seconds, they're gonna have to see, okay, what am I getting from this? From the moment they read your bio, the very first 2 seconds, they should know what they're gonna get out of checking you out. Like that, within an instant. It's one thing to sit there and like photos all day long, but it's within that 2 seconds, they're going to decide if they're gonna wanna follow you, if they're gonna wanna get your message or whatever your brand is. And as Jason was stating, and I don't know, I'm sure you agree, Jason, who do you wanna be connected with? What brands? So you gotta really think about that and what you're putting out there and what they're taking away. When people leave your page, what feeling are you giving them? Are you all about positivity? Are you all about, yes, Steph? Oh, okay. Okay. So we're just talking right now, and I know that in the next probably 10 minutes, we're gonna open it up. And we don't want you guys to be shy. We wanna like talk about this because we want everybody to get out there and really brand themselves and really take it to the top. Do you agree with me, Jason?
Yes. So as far as the branding goes, the thought process too is look at your competition. Look who is in the space and see what type of content they're posting to kind of mimic or borrow or steal, however you want to phrase it, but ultimately use it for inspiration. And from the visual standpoint, try and keep things consistent in the sense of you don't want to have a wild photo next to a dull photo, because a brand like Target would never do that. So when you start thinking about the content you want to be putting out there, think of the bigger picture of how fans are going to look at it, either a piece of content at a time or by scrolling through your channels and seeing your content.
Gail?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
How are you with your social media right now? Because I know forever you weren't on Instagram, and then now.
I'm barely. I'm barely. I don't have time for a whole lot. I can't quite decide too, and this is something you have to decide. You know, is it business? Is it family? What is it? What are you doing?
So important.
What is your direction? I mean, my Facebook is both, and I warn people in business who come to me say, "Hey, you're gonna have to see my grandkids now and then. You're just gotta know that's part of what my Facebook is." But I've I have the silliest rule. If we have 35 mutual friends, I let you in.
That's for Facebook.
Even if I don't know you on Facebook.
That's
yeah.
for Facebook.
Instagram is, I don't follow a lot because I don't get to it very often, so I wouldn't be able to keep up. Something I want to share, though, it kind of digresses maybe a little, takes away from the direction we're going. But if you're a working actor, I really would advise you not to post your auditions. First of all, people are going to ask you, well, what happened? And are you going to brand yourself as a winner or a loser? You know how many auditions you have to go on before you get one. So I would say don't even mention an audition. I don't see any reason to do that. Also because whoever else is your type is going to say, hey, how can I get in on that audition too? They're going to start the research, and you've already sabotaged yourself. If someone called and asked just specifically for you and you're going, everybody else is going to try to figure out how to get on your bandwagon. So, and as most of you probably do know, most shows nowadays do not want you to talk about them. You can take pictures while you're there, but you save them until the week that show is airing. And yet it can be flipped completely around. My son is working on an independent film right now that's building its audience, and they want lots of stuff posted. So they're posting like crazy over this little movie while it's being made, as opposed to waiting. I mean, if you get a Ryan Murphy show, you better not peep at all about the fact, you at all, because it's just dangerous. I had a client who went to do a show, and she wrote on her Facebook, I'm on my way to such and such to film so-and-so. When the show was about to come out, the show wanted to do a breaking story, exclusive story with Deadline. And Deadline came back and said, we can't advertise her because it's not a breaking story. She mentioned in Facebook that she's doing this. So a different actor got their headshot and their story in Deadline besides my actor, because she had put that one little blurb on Facebook, and her Facebook was pretty much family, but still the show found it and said, sorry, we don't want her now.
Wow. So Gail brought up a great point, because when it comes to your social media and your branding, try to specifically target exactly what you're going to sell, because we know Gail, and she is very personal and loving, and we know her as our agent. Everything she does, share her world. But when you're out there professionally and you have your Instagram or your Facebook, whatever it is your brand is, focus on that specific topic as opposed to mixing everything together. And like I stated, when folks go to your site, they need to see exactly what you're going to be selling to them. And then don't be putting in a picture of your cat while you're trying to be this actor, because you're going to have this whole acting thing, all this image, and then there's a picture of a cat by a bed. And people are only like, what? Huh? They're going to be kind of confused and thrown off. Again, it's one thing to sit there and like pictures all day long, but it's a matter for them to make that decision if they want to follow you and to go forward with you. And so...
Oh, just wanted to talk about one thing regarding the content. One thing that we recommend is putting together a content bucket list, which is essentially coming up with, maybe a handful of different types of topics that you do want to cover, and that way it gives you some type of structure to go, okay, in September, I'm going to focus on the weather, I'm going to focus on food, and I'm going to focus on the color purple. So now when you start putting together your content for that month, you could go, okay, I need a purple post, I need a food post, and I need a weather post, and it just becomes a little bit more fluid. So becomes consistency when people look at your channels. They understand the story that you're trying to tell.
I think people want to see you as real. I have a client who posted the other day a beautiful post about how he did not get a role that he had gone to 2 callbacks for, and he's had a lot of great things happening in his life, and he just sort of was open and real and just said, look, this happens to me too. Maybe I don't post about it all the time, but sometimes I put all my energies and work into something and it doesn't happen. And he got so many positive responses. It's not whining. He's not doing it all the time, but here's someone who gives you a very professional, uplifting posts, and he just says, but this is my real life too. This happens too, and it was a lovely post. It went over really well.
Yeah, Steve, it's just, again, it's all about being real. We can get that last question back there, and then we're going to wrap it up. Did you raise? Oh, you didn't have it? Oh, just like what Gail was saying, it's all about being real, because the real that you are, just putting the real back into reality, people see that you're authentic. It's about being authentic, and you're going to get the followers, you're going to get the real followers and everything, and that's your brand. That's who you are, so people know, and they're going to follow you for that. So thank you so very much, everyone, for being here, for Steph doing this, and for SAG having us here. And yes, go
Can we
Steph.
give the panel a hand? That was very helpful. You guys did a great job, and I'm really glad that you took time out of your busy day as well to come. And can we please give the diversity department a big hand for this was a wonderful setup, and thank you for all of the support. And let's go out there and book these jobs.
Yeah, get these brands.